I like that.
I'm just clicking and we're going.
Live and direct.
Yes, sir. How you been, man? It's been a minute, so I definitely want to apologize. Say I'm sorry. I have not
That's
been
okay.
feeling good at all, bro. Um,
Oh, man.
with everything. So, but yeah, I started feeling pretty good this week, and I was like,
Excellent.
I've got to get in touch with Carl. And this other guy,
Mm-hmm.
this other influencer, was we
Yeah.
Carl and I was going back and forth with him, and he
Yeah.
was asking about you. I guess he just found out about who you were and your case and everything.
Okay.
So he was.
What's his name? The other influencer?
You know what? I am not sure. Guess I should have looked that up before I got on here and was talking to. It's Iron. It's Iron something. Something Iron.
Mm-hmm.
That he's looks like he's a big time influencer, and he
Okay.
was I guess he kind of was tagged into your situation, so he was asking about you and things of that sort. So I hit him.
Okay.
I hit Carl up and told Carl. I said I told him he had to speak with Carl because Carl's pretty much the front man on all this stuff that we do anyway. You know,
Okay.
with things.
It wasn't Kid Gravity, was it?
No, sir. It was his name was
Okay.
Iron. His name was Iron
Iron
something
something.
at Iron.
Okay.
Yeah, something like that. That we were
Okay.
going back and forth with him. I would look him up, but he was so deep down in my feed here. It'd be all day for
Mm-hmm.
me to hunt him down. But yeah, he was really curious about it, and he's like, "Hey, look, I'm on it. I'm gonna put it out there and everything
Mm-hmm.
on there, so
Okay.
we can get we can keep your name out there, keep things going with this
Okay.
situation on there." But yeah, man, we have not had the opportunity to rap for a while, and like I said before, I have not had the opportunity to bug Carl to bug you.
Yeah.
Like I said, not been feeling good at all, man. These dialysis they take over, and it's
Mm-hmm.
whenever they feel like kicking you in the butt, it'll kick you in the butt.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I
hey,
know that's right.
right. So how you been, man? Seriously, how are we doing?
Eh,
How we doing?
same as always. Same as always. Just grinding it out one day at a time. And I've been I kind of generally keep abreast of what's going on between this AP Newswire, which we get. It isn't very good, but it's something. And my mom, who likes to play, like kind of conservative YouTube videos for me.
Uh huh.
I kind of get a rough idea of what's going on out in the world. And then as far as social media is concerned, I've been talking with Queen, who's part of my social media circle, and uh, she lets me know, okay, yeah, Twitter's losing its mind today. It's because of this and that. So yeah, kind of been able to keep abreast of things. But yeah, man, I'm good. Like as long as my people outside are good, then I'm good. So that's what's happening.
Oh, here we go. So his name, I found him. Well, shocking,
Uh,
but this guy goes by Iron Patriot Truce. Iron Patriot
Iron
Truce.
Patriot Truce.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. Yes, sir. So he I'm gonna bring him up here real quick. Yeah, it's called
Mm-hmm.
Iron Patriot Truce. He's a pretty big influencer. Um,
Okay.
so he caught on. He caught on um, to you. Matter of fact, and so I think I'm trying to think of her name now. CJ actually was like, "Hey, have you?" I guess he was looking at somebody else's feed on you, and then he jumped.
Yeah.
So he kind of jumped on there. She sent them to me.
Okay.
I went back and
Okay.
forth with him, and then I sent him over to Carl. So
Okay.
you know,
Who's CJ? Is that CJ? Is that Crystal? Or is that someone else?
no,
I don't know.
shoot, I'm gonna have to hold on. Maybe I can pull her up. Maybe
Mhm.
I can pull this up. And oh, Maddie, I'm sorry, Matt, Maddi, yeah, Maddie. Maddie hooked him. Maddie
Okay,
hooked him
Maddie.
up.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So Maddie hooked him up with me, and
Beautiful.
then I sent him over to
Beautiful.
Carl. But yeah, he's very, very
Okay.
interested in your story. And I was hoping we would get him on today because I told him to hook up with Carl, and because I'd hit Carl up and say, hey, let's get Dexter on the phone. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, that's pretty much where we go from there. But
That's
yeah,
all
man,
right.
like I said,
That's
you
all right.
don't ever sit there and think that we done forgot about you, because that's never gonna happen.
Oh, I never think that.
I'll forget
never
about you
think
probably
that.
when you get out. Then I'll be like, oh, he just out. We don't care about him. I don't care about him now. We got him out.
Exactly. Got him out there. Mission accomplished. Yes, sir.
See,
And God be the day.
right.
Yes, sir.
One of those deals. But yeah, so he hit everything up. So yeah, man, like I said, as long as you're doing good, as long as you got the heads in there, we're gonna be all right.
Yeah.
We're gonna be all right.
No, it's like definitely got my head straight, and I'm definitely. I mean, I wake up every day and wake up every day kind of uppity, ready to rain fire and brimstone on whoever, and
sure.
So I'm good, man. I'm really all right. We also going to reach the funding milestone that we're aiming for, the latest one, so we could pay my legal team to file the appeal. So
okay,
that, we actually went ahead and wrote that check to my legal team, and so now I'm waiting. I talked to a paralegal at his office the other day, and she said that he's sometime soon going to schedule a legal call with me, and that'll be where we can discuss everything and what have you.
okay.
So things are that's good, and then as you know, that's just one side of things. The legal side, the other side is the political side, and so I'm still looking to get on with as many influencers as possible, as many good conservative heads as possible, and chop it up about any and everything. And yeah, that's what's happening. And a lot has happened since you and I have talked, definitely.
Oh my goodness, dude!
Looks like Governor Kathy Hochul has endorsed Zoran Mamdani, which I thought was a pretty big error. And it looks like some and then of course we all know that some crazy shot Charlie Kirk and the entire internet is in a ferment, or at least was for quite a bit, and everyone's kind of losing their mind.
It's getting crazy out here. It's one of those situations that if I could have lasagna, some really good lasagna in there with you, I would come there.
No, you wouldn't. First of all, ain't no good lasagna in here.
See, That's what I'm talking about. That's why I'm not coming. But if there was some good lasagna, uh, I would probably be over there hanging out with you. Yeah, man. I would probably be over there hanging out with you. But there is no good lasagna, so I'll stay out here on this crazy side and try to figure this thing out. But yeah, the rhetoric from both sides. I know they sit there and go, I just finished watching a video. I was at over at a friend's house, and we were sitting there, we was talking about certain things. And I just finished watching that video when back a couple of months ago, Trump was calling people fascists, right?
Yeah.
And then they started calling him that. And so now the right is sitting there going, oh, well, you can't say that. And I'm sitting there going, I literally just watched a video of Trump saying the same thing everybody else saying. But if you say it to Trump, you can't say it. But it's both sides out here right now, man, that is spewing this just flat out hate, and somewhere, somehow, it was going to come to a head, right? And it was Charlie Kirk. At the end of the day, when it's all said and done, I don't mind at all somebody speaking. I mean, that's what the First Amendment is for, right? The First Amendment is for people speaking their mind and saying what they want to say. As long as you're not ugly, I don't mind, people speaking their mind. And you shouldn't have to be, but in the black community, we've seen this, right? So Martin Luther King, he goes out there, he speaks his mind, they shoot him. Medgar Evers is out there, he speaks his mind, they shoot him. Malcolm X, he speaks his mind, they shoot him. So this isn't new to us.
Well, I mean, the thing I would point out is that you're right. First of all, it's not new. But then look, violence isn't new to the human species. Political violence isn't new to the human species. It's not new in America, right? And so, I think. I don't know what it is. I mean, well, first of all, okay, so the social media thing, I have to say that we have to remember, right, that you see a lot of people say crazy stuff on social media. Now,
sure.
Some of those people are real people. Some of those people are just trolls. They're just, sociopaths who like to stir shit up. Some of these people are whatever they call the 10-cent army, paid trolls from some other country. Some of those people are chaos actors, right? And this is one of the reasons I say Twitter is not a demographic, right? You can't really take the temperature of the country through Twitter. Well, you can, but I don't think it's going to give you reliable information, right? Twitter is the place where all the most, the people who are relatively prosperous and well connected and have enough kind of time and disposable income to sit and type words, in their spare time. That's where they hang out. Okay, so, but it's not a demographic. It's not. You can't assess the country necessarily from what's happening on social media. Or you can't really assess it accurately. So. Yeah, people have got pretty amped up. I knew when I heard that Charlie Kirk had been killed. At first, I didn't believe it. My mom who told me because again, she plays a lot of conservative YouTube videos for me. She liked Four Boxes Diner. which is like the Second Amendment channel about court decisions and Supreme Court stuff, and all touching on the Second Amendment. She likes Joe Brown a lot. She's a big fan, and there's a few other things like she was like. So when she she was cooking around one time, we're talking, and she said, "Hey, do you know about someone named Charlie Kirk?" I said, "Yes, I know about Charlie. I know who he is." I said, "Yeah, I've got a couple of big bones to pick with him. Same as I'm out. She hears me talk about Candace Owens. She's like, yeah, Charlie Kirk is in the Candace Owens camp, and therefore I have a lot of problems with him, kind of especially as a fellow conservative, right? That's someone who's supposed to be on the same side as I am." And then she said, well, someone shot him. And I was like, Mom, no one shot Charlie Kirk. So I was like, that's just,
Right.
Someone just posted something there just to, say no one shot. And she was like, no, someone shot Charlie Kirk. Yeah, he's dead. I was like, what? And then she said, yeah, this is Yahoo News I'm looking at. And she ran it down. It was like, holy smoke. And so when I heard that news, like I knew that there'd be a lot of lefties, scared of us for vile stuff, talking about, he deserves what you got, this, that. I knew that would be the case, right? Because that's how the modern left gets down. Like we know this, right? But I was kind of, I can't really say I was that surprised, but it was disappointing, put it that way. To hear a bunch of, again, fellow conservatives, or people who I thought were fellow conservatives, forget their principles and forget the actual work we have to do, and just launch into a whole thing just opposing the crazy of the left. It's like you hear people talking about, yeah, this is civil war. I'm like, yo, bro, calm down. It's not civil war. Like somebody got shot. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, we have to vote. First of all, you don't have to do a damn thing. Calm your ass down. That's the first thing.
Right.
Yeah, we have to have tit for tat. Really, you want to just go out and shoot somebody for no reason? Like that? Like, what are you proposing? You know what I'm saying? You want to go out and take out someone who says things you don't like? Really? Stupid? You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, and I was talking with one of the people in our circle about it, talking with Queen about it the other day. And as you know, she's a big conservative, and she was, many of us came. I as a conservative, many people I know, came from the left. We used to be on the left, and at a certain point, we left the left. But Queen is kind of like a lifelong conservative, right? So,
Sure.
So she's so I'm talking with her, and what I said to her, and I think we kind of agreed on this, is that part of the problem, if we step back from the immediate thing of this person advocating violence and this person advocating violence as a counter to that violence and all that childish stuff. I think one of the problems we have in American politics is that as opposed to people kind of aligning with something because they've given some thought to what it means. What happens? People kind of ricocheting off each other. So people will take positions because they're the opposite of those other people over there. A lot of people who are conservative now, they say, well, yeah, I left the left and I decided to just started to do, I want to see with whatever the opposite lefties, whatever was the opposite of what the lefties were saying at a given time, right? And the problem with that is that unless you're careful and disciplined, you're going to fall into that kind of pattern, that habit, and you're never going to stop and think about why you think what you think. And you're never going to stop and think about, first principles. And you have to have some first principles. You have to have a basic thing of like, okay, well, what does it mean to be this? You call yourself a conservative. What does it really mean to be a conservative? What's your dogma? What's your orthodoxy? Right? What's the basic rule set that's supposed to govern your thinking? And that's lacking in many people, and it's a problem. Because if all you want to do is oppose someone else's dumb idea, then of course right away you're going to run into difficulties, because the opposite of a bad idea most often is another bad idea. The opposite of a bad idea is not necessarily a good idea. Yeah. It's just another bad idea, because most ideas are bad, right? And you can have a lot of ideas that are bad and just point in opposite directions. You can't navigate that way. You can't get good answers that way. You have to go deeper. It doesn't help that we've kind of stepped away from religion in a big way in this country, specifically stepped away from Christianity in a big way in this country. That does not help. And so, I don't know. It's kind of a cliche to be like to offer solutions to these kinds of things. I mean, again, you and I have talked before, and you know that I think we definitely need a spiritual. There has to be a spiritual revolution. I would go so much as a religious revolution in this country. Yeah. Because it's fashionable to say that you're spiritual. And it's like, I'm not jacking that either. It's like, no, everyone has a spirit. I don't care about your spirit. It's like, what's your religion? What's your rule set, right? If we're all just sitting around, being spiritual with a goofy ass expression on our faces, right? Then there's no, there's nothing to hold on to and navigate by it. Everything's just kind of, colors and sounds. No, what's your rule set? What's right and what's wrong? And I think we still need that, and God willing, we'll have that. But it really has to come from something other than just being revolted at what someone else thinks. And I've said this to a lot of conservatives in my online rants. You may have heard me from time to time saying, "Listen, yeah, okay, I know what you hate. I know what we hate. What do you love?" That's the question. What do you love? You talk about fighting. What will you fight to preserve? What will you fight to defend? What would you fight to conserve? Everybody want to fight. It's like, yeah, okay. You want to fight because you're mad. That's one thing. Okay, that's a natural human thing. People want to fight. People fight for any reason or for no reason. Okay, what do you want to fight for? What do you want to fight for?
Yeah.
Why are we here? What's the point of the exercise? What do you want to show? What do you want to show your children? What do you want your legacy to be? What do you want to leave behind for them? These questions matter, no matter what side you are on, politically. But they're supposed to matter, especially for conservatives. And I'm afraid that very often conservatives, being fallen human beings like everyone else, forget that. And so it's a problem.
Well, like I said, one of the big problems was the wording, the words that each side was using. See, what I don't like is because on the left, right? The left, you have a lot of black people on the left. So when these people are talking about the left, they need, because we got nothing to do with this, right? This isn't, none of this stuff that's going on right now with Charlie, we have nothing to do with it. We're out of it. We didn't shoot him. We didn't give him a call. We did not give him a cause for someone to go shoot him. So
you have 1 minute left.
We have been trying to stay out of this as much as we possibly can, even though they're doing everything they possibly can do to drag us in it. I hear you got that 1 minute.
Yeah, Minute Maid has chimed in once again. Let me drop and call you back.
Sounds like it. I'll talk to you in a minute.
All right, bro.
The caller has hung up.
What's going on, people? What's going on? What's happening? What's happening? I know we just went right into it. There was no intro. We didn't put anything out there pretty much saying that Dexter was going to be on tonight because we didn't know. We had to wait until he was ready to call. For those who don't understand what we're doing, if this is your first time hanging out with us, we are actually talking to Dexter Taylor, who is calling. That's why I got my I stand with Dexter Taylor hat on. But Dexter Taylor is calling us from prison. Yes, he is locked up. He is behind bars. Dexter Taylor is our political prisoner right now because you have the Democrats and when I say Democrats, I'm talking all of them, black and white. Democrats in New York who decided that they were going to take someone who's exercising their Second Amendment right and then turn around and say, because you was exercising your Second Amendment rights, we're gonna haul you into court. We're gonna threaten you with jail time, and then we're gonna turn around and tell you you can't use your Second Amendment rights to defend yourself. Hold on, y'all missed what I just said. They decided that Dexter Taylor could not use the Second Amendment on gun charges to defend himself from a dogged out court system. This is how bad this is. This is how bad the New York court system is. The New York's laws and the system that they have. This man could not use the Second Amendment to defend himself on the very reason the Second Amendment was put in place. They gave him 10 years. He is sitting in prison right now doing 10 years as if he robbed a bank, as if he murdered somebody, ran somebody over with the car, as if he took the very guns that he was putting together that never been out, they have never been shot, and they put him in prison. So we get the opportunity on Sunday nights. We're just getting back into it. We haven't had an opportunity to talk to Dexter in a while. So that's what we're doing. So we get him for about 35 minutes or something like that, and then what has to happen is he has to hang up and then call us back. So that's what we're in the middle of that right now. So if you're just tuning in, wondering what's going on, that's what you heard him when he had to hang up. We get our minute. They tell, or you got 1 minute left, and then he hangs up, and then we wait for him to give us a call back, and then we're able to talk to him from that point on. But that's the small part of it. We every now and then Dexter will get into his case, and he'll let people know about that. I'll see if he'll do that tonight for those who are new. And if you want to look into Dexter's case, the situation that's going on, just type in Dexter Taylor. There you go. Dexter Taylor. Just type it in your computer. He'll come up, read about his case, understand his case. And if you want to get involved in what we're doing and what's going on with it, please, ma'am and sir, we're just asking you, write Pam Bondi, right? Write Don Jr., right? Who else are we writing?
Harmeet Dillon. Don't forget Harmeet Dillon.
Harmy Dillon. There we go. Oh, you back. Usually Carl goes, you're back.
Yeah.
I didn't know you was back. Okay. All right. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah. Harmy Dillon. Right, Harmy Dillon.
Mhm.
Right. Any influencer out there you know of, please, ma'am and sir, just send them a letter. Just something short. Do you know about you? You can just go. Do you know about Dexter Taylor? Send. It's that. That quick. That quick. You spend more time on this thing arguing with people than it would take. than it would take you just to send off a really quick DM going, "Do you know about Dexter Taylor?" Right, and then we'll be good to go. So, but yeah, Dexter. So that was one of the big stories that happened. But see, here's the thing about that happening. When you're talking about free speech, correct? And that's what this whole thing is about. But watch this here. But you can't say anything bad about Charlie Kirk, right? You can't use his exact words to make an argument for what he was saying. They get mad at you for that.
Well, here's the thing. I'm gonna. I know what you mean, but I'm gonna push back a little bit. You can say it. You just have to be prepared for pushback. That's all.
Right.
And by the way, I'm prepared for push. And by the way, I am fully prepared for pushback. So, anyone who's hearing the sound of my voice right now, right? Anyone who knows about my case, especially, and who I am and what I've been doing online, the conservative podcasting I've been doing online since about 2018 or so maybe before 2015, 2016. I'm a conservative. I'm very conservative. And a lot of the stuff Charlie Kirk said, I disagreed with. And I wish he was still alive so I could one day argue with him and tell him that I think on a lot of what he says is full of shit, especially when it comes to the black electorate. And I'll go further. I said Charlie Kirk, let's say he was doing the right thing as he saw it, but the way I see it, in many cases, he wasn't alone. Candace Owens, very similar.
Candace,
Larry Elder,
yep.
very similar.
Brandon Tatum.
Yes, exactly. Working at cross purposes. So what I think, is part of what I know was and is part of my primary mission, which is to change hearts and minds in the very places that are dominated by the left right now. I'd like to look to the extent that Charlie Kirk or Candace Owens or anyone else was able to go to college campuses and get some of these kids who would otherwise end up as lefty progressives to embrace conservatism in some form. I'd say that was good. But the problem is that that's not good enough. We also have to talk about winning elections. We also have to talk about unseating the lefties, the liberals, the progressives who've been running our American cities into the ground for decades.
The socialists now.
This is, well, I would say, doesn't matter what they call themselves. You know what I'm saying? It's like, John Mamdani, for example, I don't think he's even really serious about being I'll put it as he's a hypocrite socialist, I'll say that. I'll get more into that later. But the point is that people with stupid-ass ideas, who've been running our cities into the ground, I want to show those people the door.
Yes, very much.
I want them to lose their job, right? I don't want to do anything violent to them. I don't want to so much as be a rude or discourteous to them if I see them in the street. I'm more likely to cross the street and walk in the other direction. But I simply want them to not have a job where they can run our cities into the ground, right? They're helping. I'm speaking now as me, as a black conservative, as an American. They've been helping us to death. You know what I'm saying? They're helping us to death, Reverend.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
It's killing us. Okay. And so these people, have to get fired. They got to lose their jobs. They got to be ushered out of political power. Okay. And the fact is, I know for a fact that one of the big reasons why conservatives cannot get the traction they need to win some of these elections, state and local and state elections, and one of the big reasons that a truly conservative agenda has a lot of problems if it's national, if you have a person in the White House, is because you can't really win victories that are decisive enough if you simply ignore the huge population centers. I mean, as a strategy, that is madness. That is madness for conservatives.
Right.
We are setting ourselves up for defeat if we simply ignore cities and ignore, for example, the black electorate. The black and brown electorate, man. You know, many of whom live in cities.
They do it all.
Suburbs are not important.
Yeah,
they are.
They do it all the time.
Not important. They are. Right, but
right.
That's okay. And so because you've heard my content over the years, that we have to change that strategy. Like we have to stop doing that. Doesn't mean we have to be any less conservative. Doesn't mean we have to compromise on the Bill of Rights. Right? Doesn't mean we have to compromise on fiscal sanity. Doesn't mean we have to compromise on family values. Right? Doesn't mean any of those things. We have to talk to people as if we care what they think about us. Because we do care what they think about us. Because we want to change hearts and minds. Okay? And, when conservatives get up and say, well, we should just forget about getting the black vote. It's a waste of time. Well, that's yet one more turnoff. It's a turnoff. And I've been saying this for years. People don't want to listen. I keep saying it because, I'm hard-headed like that. But, I mean, no, it's not a waste of time. First, these Democrats are beatable. The Democrats running the cities are beatable.
Yep.
By the way, Trump showed you this. The current president showed you this in November of 2024. He showed you that.
Well, except for here in Minnesota.
Yeah, but we'll come to that in a second. What I'm saying is that he showed you that it is possible.
Yeah.
He showed you that it is possible. Okay, he showed you it's possible to start carving off a lot of these Democrat voters. He showed you that someone who a black person, for example, who has habitually voted Democrat, can be rolled to the other side, can be persuaded. The left over time in this country has become, especially for black and brown people, and especially for people who live in cities, the left has definitely become a party that is worth voting against. You know what I'm saying? The Democrats are definitely worth voting against. But here's the trick. Watch this. That it doesn't automatically follow from that Republicans have made themselves a party worth voting for. Those are two different things. Republicans have to take an interest in being a party worth voting for. And part of that involves, deciding, making the decision to stop antagonizing voters and start antagonizing politicians. By all means, antagonize these political hacks all day, but why are you antagonizing voters? You know what's funny? Speaking of this, right? I was in a space with Carl and them the other week. There was a woman in there. I hope you won't mind me saying her online name, but her name is Pat, and black woman from Jamaica, came to this country legally, built a family. Her husband's deceased. I think he was a trade. Either he was a tradesman or he was in the military, but he's deceased. And she had children. Her two children in school. I think her one son has already graduated from medical school, right? This is a person who is not, but She was an RN, by the way, just like my mom. This is a person who was really interested in building something here and really did build something here and really did contribute to society. She didn't just come here and put her hand out waiting to get something. She built something, and her family built something. And she has children now who are either already or getting ready to be productive, contributing members of society. Okay? And when she heard my scandal rant, she said, you're so right. She said, Dexter, you're so right. Thank you for saying that. I consider myself politically homeless because in terms of values, I'm with you. But the way the Republicans talk about me and mine is a turn off. And she said that. She didn't have any particular reason to agree with what I was saying.
Sure.
She said that. Right? And so the same thing I've been saying for years. People who know me, it hasn't changed. It's like still the same thing I'm saying. Come on. So this is I think it's even more important now because as I always tell my conservative friends, I think the populist conservative movement is something very exciting. I think it's the most exciting thing to have happened in politics in my lifetime, certainly, populist conservatism. But the populist conservatism is bigger than Donald Trump. It's bigger than the MAGA movement. But it's early days yet for the populist conservative movement. It can die an early death. And that would be very unfortunate because then we would be left with the same old tired ass so-called conservatives who just think because they're GOP, like they can do no wrong. And they go on doing the same thing and getting elected, going back to Washington, they're going back to the State House, and going back to the mayor's mansion and doing the same nonsense. Right? So I want this thing to go somewhere. I want more of an expansion of Second Amendment rights to get back to where we're supposed to be as a nation. I want to turn around the war on the family, or rather, I want to take my side, my proper conservative side in the war for the family. And I wish more of my fellow conservatives, never mind being on my side, I wish they were on their side. Things like I'm more on their side than they are. So now coming to the thing of saying things about Charlie Kirk. Look, I get it. It's lefty rhetoric grates on one's nerves at the best of times. Right. Hearing lefties talk is annoying at the best of times, and the days and weeks immediately after Charlie Kirk's death, after his murder, were not the best of times. Okay. But again, conservatives have to remember that we are supposed to believe in limited government for a reason. We're supposed to believe in not just the First Amendment, but a culture of free speech for a reason. And I make the distinction between the First Amendment and the culture of free speech because here's the thing. The First Amendment says the government can't go after you for speech, and that is true. And we need that, right? We need that body of law that limits what the state can do. Okay, and that's great that we have that, but that's not. We have to aim higher than that. We want a culture of free speech, right? Because what we don't want, for example, if a conservative says something someone doesn't like, or something that defies the leftist orthodoxy or the mainstream media orthodoxy. Yes, we don't want the government going after that person, but we also, by the way, don't want that person to be debanked, right? We also want that person's credit card company to call them up and say, listen, we heard you said X, Y, Z, we're terminating your account. We don't want, lending institutions to refuse to do business with this person. We don't want this person to get fired from their job just because they have conservative ideas. And by the way, none of the things I've mentioned, none of those entities I've mentioned are government entities. We're talking about the private sector. That's why a culture of free speech is so important. It must be generally accepted that, putting aside, like a certain extraordinary act of speech, setting the bar very high, putting aside that, saying, hey, let's, plotting to go actually kill somebody, plotting to go do violence against somebody. So, saying certain things, giving some information to hostile foreign powers. Absent those things, people should be left alone, right, in terms of their speech. Conservatives should know this and should value this very much because we have to raise our voices many times and say things that are unpopular in order to fight for what's right. A man cannot actually become a woman. Like a woman is actually an adult human being.
Yeah.
Right? We should not be putting pornography in children's libraries in school. We shouldn't do that. We believe that at some point and at some stage in its development, an unborn human being has some rights we're bound to respect. You see what I'm saying? So we have to understand that, look, when if someone says something, someone on the left says something we don't like, by all means call it out. But be very careful with asking for the government to take a whole raft of new measures to shut off the speech that we don't like. Because it doesn't take that long for something like that to turn around and bite you on the ass. I mean, Jesus Christ. In historical terms, it was 5 seconds ago, Rev. It was 5 seconds ago when conservatives were cheering on the George Bush Jr. administration, when it was calling for all these new powers, wireless surveillance, no-knock warrants, right?
Right. Right.
New wiretapping powers, what have you, right?
Yeah.
They were cheering that on. And then again, not very much later, right? Government officials were saying, "Oh, you have a problem with drag queen story hour at your child's kindergarten? Yeah, you could be a terrorist. We're going to put you on a list." Like, have we forgotten that?
Well, we do have we do have short memories, Dexter. You got to remember that.
Well, that's what writing is for. That's what printing is for. You see what I'm saying? That's what the written word is for. Shit. You got to write that shit down. Do whatever you need to do. You know what I'm saying? There's no excuse I will accept, right? We are supposed to know better. And you talk about what the left does. Listen, I can't control what the left does. I don't want to control it. I just want to make sure they can't wield power over citizens and families and the people we care about. So I don't want to. What we have to do is clean up our house, and our house is in need of cleaning. So that's what I would say. I really want my fellow conservatives to be all the way on side in terms of defeating the leftist progressives, we're going to call it that, the left wing agenda. But the instruments matter, and the means matter. They matter very much.
Yeah.
And so that we have to embrace the right principles, and we have to be seen embracing the right principles. Otherwise, look, to someone who's on the fence or to someone on the left, why not? If the difference is just that, well, you're both jump out and start saying crazy stuff when something terrible happens, well, what's the difference? What's the difference? If no one's calling for sanity, if no one's going back to first principles, what the hell is the difference?
There isn't it. At the end of the day,
it's just like I tell people. It's just like I tell people, about these state and local elections. You have some dumb lefty mayor that's running a city into the ground. And then you have some conservative who comes along to govern like a statist, right? What's the difference?
Well,
So we're trying to get away from statism. The point is to get away from statism. And, I think people, the reliance on magic words is a problem because people, the conservatives of a certain stripe who know they're supposed to kind of ritually freak out when they say socialist, right?
Yeah,
I'm of
that's
the
true.
opinion that we should stop with the magic words. I don't care what the word is. Look at the ideas, and if the ideas are bad, then the ideas are bad. Many of the young people coming up today looking to get involved in politics didn't grow up during the Cold War. They don't know about the failures of statism, of state-run collectivism in the Soviet bloc, in the former Soviet bloc. They simply don't know about those things. So they're not going to have a big attitude about it. So when you just say socialist, like it's supposed to trigger a jump scare, it does nothing. It falls flat. Now that's hard to hear, but that's how it is. Here's the good news, though, right? They still have dumb ideas. You just have to think a little bit and actually talk about why their ideas are dumb, why Zoran Mamdani's ideas are stupid and won't work. Why Brandon Johnson's ideas are stupid and won't work.
Right.
Why Mayor Wu's ideas are stupid and will not work. People are ready to listen, but you have to be seen talking sense, and you have to be seen exercising virtue that is controlling your patterns. Right? If lefties were going to jump up and say something and let their emotions run the place, and we claim to be different and better than that, then when something terrible happens, and when someone says something vile about something terrible that happened, you can't let your emotions run the place. This should be obvious.
Right.
So that's my take on it. And listen, and anyone who hear my voice, like, I defy you to try to call me to account for criticizing Charlie Kirk's ideas. Like, yeah, go ahead.
Well,
I'm ready for that conversation all day.
Yeah.
I just want to because listen, I put my conservative credentials against anybody's, living or deceased. So come at me, okay? Because I fought my way into this shit here. When I left the left, okay, when I was disgusted with the Democrats, I didn't just jump to the Republicans. I sat and thought, okay, what do I really believe? What do I want? Who am I as a person? Right? If I have kids, what do I want them to go and do? I want them to be citizens, or I want them to hate their home. What's right? And so I fought my way into this shit here.
Yeah.
And I believe it strongly enough. That I was able to stand up to a government and lose my freedom.
That's true.
Exactly. So like
all of that is true.
Don't get in my face about this shit right here. Like I said, I wish Charlie Kirk was still alive, so I could argue with him. And there's no good reason for the man to be dead. And I wish for God's peace to be on him and on his family.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not gonna put a halo on anyone's head.
No, they already. Well, you too late. Too late.
They did. Well, no, they did. That's their business. That's their business. My
too
business
late.
is to talk about how it actually is. You see what I'm saying? And how it is, as my Christian conservative friends know, there was exactly one man in history who lived among us and was without sin.
That's right.
One.
That's right.
Everybody else gonna get some criticism. Everybody else gonna get some.
I preached on that. I preached on that at the second church that I went to.
Yes, sir.
There was only one that did not came here and was perfect, and that's it. There is not. But what I was gonna say is it's like when I met Candace Owens. When Candace came here to Minneapolis, and my whole thing of meeting her was to tell her, I'm not gonna down you for using the black community to get your comeuppings. I met Candace early before she got as popular as she was. I met her when she first started off, when she was really digging into the black community. So my thought with her, and I know why Charlie brought her aboard. And my thing with Charlie was, number one, if you're going to dog out the black community, be ready to come into the black community to put in some work. If you're not going to put in some work, shut the hell up. Don't say nothing about the black community. Period. Point blank. I'll even stretch it that far. Number two, with Charlie, I'm sitting here going, well, look at all these pedophiles. Look at all these white pedophiles. Here in Minnesota, we get one pretty much every day. There's Trump's. What matter of fact, Trump's preacher just got caught. So my thing with Charlie was, sure, go ahead and dump on the black community, but then turn around and talk about the white men who are running around here right now, and they want to put it like, oh, it's a lefty. No, it's a white guy. That a white guy shot up a school here in Minnesota. A white guy did that. You
Catholic school,
yeah, you can call him trans. Yeah. You can call, but when it's all said and done, a white man drove that truck into that building and got out and started shooting. So my thing was my thing with Charlie is, go take care of your house and let us take care of our house.
You have 1 minute left.
Don't be talking about my house if you ain't going to talk about your house.
Well, here's the thing. Here's why I disagree with. I see Minute Maid has chimed in again.
Yep.
Let me drop and call back, and I'll talk to you about where I agree with that, where I disagree with that.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Okay. Sounds like a deal.
The caller has hung up.
All right. So he's going to jet for a minute. I'm going to go and do what he has to do on his end to call back. Like I said, we get him for about 35 minutes or something like that. And then after that, he has to hang up and call back, which I don't know why. I never really asked him why he has to do this. So we're going to find out tonight. As many times as, we have talked to Dexter, I've never asked him, well, why y'all got to keep hanging up? Why can't we just have a conversation and then they worry about it on the other end, unless they got to reset their recorders so they can make sure they're getting something. Well, they're not going to get anything from me at all, to be knocking on my door going, well, you talk to Dexter Taylor all the time and maybe you just, no. I know how the government works, man. The government is it's a broken system. And until we can get the Republicans on board, because here in Minnesota, one of the things that hurts and as bad as the Democrats are here in Minnesota, and they are, the Democrats here in Minnesota are pathetic. And I mean flat out pathetic. It is bad here. The Democrats here are I don't know another state that can actually rival the Democrats here in Minnesota. I really honestly don't. To just how just filthy this group is. But here's the thing about it. Knowing how bad the Democrats are, they will still vote for the Democrats. Why? Because of the Republican Party. That's why everybody, when they vote for people, and they're not voting because they like the Democrats. That's not how it works here. When you talk to people, if you was to talk to a Democrat in Hennepin County and you say, why do you vote for Democrats? If you know how bad the Democrats are, why do you keep voting for them? That's what I tell you. Because of the Republicans. Because the Republicans always putting up these nuts to vote for. That's why they don't ever win, because they don't put up good candidates. They don't have good candidates. See, their candidates that they put up and the ones that they have in office, they'll win their little bitty district. They'll win their little bitty area because they're nuts. Period. Point blank. And then they try to go, well, let's run them statewide. And people go, we don't want y'all keep them nuts. You keep the nuts. We don't want them. So we would rather have these Democrats that are just completely gone now, and they are, to the point where the socialists are literally fighting the Democrats right now.
What are we looking like?
Oh, there he is.
Yeah,
there he is.
We're back.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So, yeah, I mean, so here's what I agree with in what you said is that look, we're under an injunction. A religious injunction, by the way. Okay.
True.
To make sure we tend to our own affairs first. Right, you have to take the beam out of your eye before you worry about the splinter in your brother's eye. Right. Okay. But here's the flip side is that wrongdoing has no color. At the end of the day, wrongdoing. I mean, you're right about about what some of these things that happen, what have you. But the fact is that wrongdoing has no color.
Right.
Okay. And so again, I keep saying this to conservatives who should know it. And because you've heard me go off on them, Rev. They should know, right, that one man raising up a weapon and striking down another is the second oldest story in the book. Literally the second oldest story.
Yeah, got a point.
Right? So if we're serious, right? If we're serious, we have to admit that evil has no color. And so if we're serious about looking at someone who does something and not jumping to stupid conclusions about them based on their paint job.
Right.
Then it works both ways. It in other words, like the existence of white pedophiles doesn't really that doesn't tell me anything in particular. Right? It tells me that evil exists in the world. The existence of people, of black people who are running around snatching purses or robbing places or shooting up the place doesn't tell me anything particular about people with my paint job. It just says that evil exists in the world.
That's right.
Right? And so what I would say is listen, say you go if Charlie Kirk were alive today, and I wish you were, I say, listen, I'm not going to tell you what you shouldn't say. You're a grown man like me. I leave the question, okay, what is the mission? What is the mission, Charlie? Aren't you tired of when you're trying to when you get a president who wants to really actually pass a conservative budget, he's got to go sweet talk about the weak sisters in Congress. Some of them are Republicans. You know what I'm saying? But don't you want to commit some of these gains as a populist conservative yourself? Don't you want to cement some of these gains, or is it just about a particular presidential cycle? If we want to cement these gains, we have to care about the cities and the people who live in them. And if we're serious about saving this republic, we have to first imagine that it is one thing. That it is one thing, one people.
Yeah, we got a problem with that.
So you talking like if it's some whole other. No. It's one people. And the other thing I'd say to him, by the way, and I'd say this to Candace if she were around, is that I don't know why you insist on kind of raising your skirts and tiptoeing past perfectly good conservative talking points to make shallow gotcha lines involving this racial logic, which we all know by now is a dead end. How many times do I have to say that, the destruction of the family, which is by and large a lefty social project, is responsible for the blight in our cities? That's the reality.
That is the reality. You're right.
It's not because people are a certain color. It's not because people are a certain color, right? Who's doing all the rapes and robberies and muggings in Russia, in the slums of Russia? Who's doing all the rapes and robberies and muggings in the slums of India, in the slums of China? Smarten up. You have the conservative tools you need to look at what is happening in our cities and understand it for what it is. The family is the foundation of society. If you break the family, you break society. If you break society, then what you get in the streets is not civilization, but barbarism. That's it. That's it. And by the way, I would encourage anyone who's hearing my voice right now to go and pick up a book called The People of the Abyss. It's by Jack London. I recommend that book to everybody. And Jack London, if you don't know, was an out and proud racist. He was an out and proud white supremacist. He was not bashful about that at all. And what he did was he walked around London in the early 1900s. He wrote about what he saw. He walked around the worst parts of London and wrote about what he saw. And if you read that book, you will see the kind of the degeneracy and the chaos and the anarchy and the bad behavior and the illegitimacy and all of these things in the streets of London in 1901, 1902 were almost like a mirror image of what you see in many of our cities now. Why? Because it's not about your paint job. It's about the free citizen and the free family and the things that tend towards social cohesion versus the things that tend towards social dissolution. Go read that book and stop trying to make this about someone's paint job and how this kind of person, because they have this color skin, is this. I mean, this is dead end thinking. You can't get any good answers on this line. You cannot. It is not possible. Better men than you have tried and failed. So that's what I would say. By all means, keep. But I don't. I just the thing I disagree with is we'll only talk about the bad things white folks do. Well, no, I don't believe that either because again, I'm not because I claim I'm a human being. I'm an American citizen. I'm a black man. I claim all of my humanity, all of it, all the angels, all the devils, all of it. Every part of me that's sinful and needs to go or needs to be defeated. Every part of me that's worthwhile and needs to be elevated. I claim all of it. And so I don't gain anything from saying, oh yeah, man, those people over there, that guy who did that. Every one of us, none of us is without sin. And the fact is that none of us is without the impulse to violence. And the impulse to violence itself is not a bad thing. It just has a right purpose and a wrong purpose. So I would say just like wake up and be a better conservative. That's all. Get on my side and really oppose this lefty agenda because it's killing all of us. The lefties decided to destroy the American family. They started with us first. That's all. Well, don't you see that they're not happy with just that? Don't you think they're trying to expand the game now? They're trying to expand the battle space now?
Yeah.
Coming after your own families, too. This is what I don't get about some of our conservative brethren. It's like, bro, like you think the dysfunction you see is some special thing having to do with the genetic makeup of the people who live in certain parts of New York and Chicago? Bro, this is the destruction that you get with this kind of political agenda when you let people with certain ideas run the place for 40, 50, 60 years. This is what you get. Do you want to stop it? or do you want to stand back and point and laugh and pretend that you're immune to it? Your decision. You're a grown-ass man. I can't tell you what to do, what to think, but think about what you want. Much depends on the answer. That's what I would say.
Yeah, and you was going to kind of because I had said that I don't mind what Charlie says as long as he comment. Was you going to comment, or did you say?
Oh yeah.
When I said,
I mean, so I would say. Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I would say I wouldn't even say as long as you come to the black, because here's the thing. It's not a matter of, well, you can put it this way. I think that kind of reasoning is poor reasoning. So I'm not going to say, well, I'll agree with your poor reasoning if you agree to make a visit to this geographical area.
Well, because
I don't agree with your city reasoning.
Right, but I want him to see, because Charlie Kirk ain't never came. Charlie Kirk ain't never came into the hood. He ain't never came in the black community.
But here's the thing. I see what you mean, but hear me out here. Listen, you don't know, even if you were to come to you don't know what he would see. What you can see depends on your point of view in the first place.
Mm.
What you can see depends on what you are willing to see in the first place.
No, you got a point there.
And someone can see the same thing that you and I see and come to a whole different conclusion because their mindset is different. So it's no special thing. So I don't care if someone comes to the city or not. In other words, put it this way: I'm saying that what I'm saying, that my position is so obvious that you don't have to come to the city.
All right.
In fact, you can go any other city around the world. You see the same thing. That's what I'm saying. Don't bother come to the hood. Go to China and go to the hood. How about that? Go to Indonesia. Go to Thailand. Go to Mumbai. Go to Calcutta. And go to the hood.
Yeah, But I get that part. I get that part, Dex. But what I'm saying is, you're right. But they're not pissing on China. They're not pissing on Indonesia. They're pissing on the hood. And
because they lack imagination, and they're thinking in a very small, petty, provincial way, which is why we should get out more. Right. But at the end of the day, even if they take that tour, they might not see what there is to be seen. So my thing is, how can I put this? You don't have to come to East New York, right?
Right.
You don't have to do the Cabrini Green housing projects to reason properly as a conservative. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like we conservatives have been saying for years that, like, if you destroy the family, I didn't invent that. That's a conservative point of view. And by the way, socialists believe that too, which is why they want to destroy the family, so they can hit the reset button, right? So that when everything is in ruins because you destroyed civil society, then you can sail in and start to do whatever else you want to do. They said they want to destroy the family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, out loud. They said that out loud.
Out loud. Okay. So I'm saying it's like if Candace Owens doesn't have to come to Cabrini Green projects to get any insights. All she has to do is stay right where she is and think a little harder. You know what I'm saying? And think a little more consistently.
Oh, she's messing with you. Well, that's why they don't like her no more, because she left black people alone.
Well, no, I don't think that's why they don't like her. I don't think that's why they don't like her. They don't like her because she left black. They don't like her because she's talking about another ethnic group.
Yeah.
That,
yeah.
That you're not supposed to criticize. And look,
got a point.
She's also, by the way, still saying a lot of silly shit. That's the other thing. So, it's just that,
Well, as long as it's silly shit isn't coming our way.
Well, see, but that's the thing. But that's the thing. I'm not happy with that.
Okay.
She's flying the flag for conservatism. And so that's still bad for us because we want people to leave the
come on.
left.
Dexter, come on. We knew, you and I, right? I'm not talking about anybody who's listening to us or somebody that's going to be hearing this here some other time. We knew Candace wasn't a conservative. Come on, bro. Come on.
Well, I didn't say, wait. I didn't say, you didn't hear what I said.
What'd you?
I didn't say she is or is not a conservative. What I said is that she is flying the flag for conservative.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Okay.
So someone who is, right, you know what I'm saying?
I get you.
That's what people think it is. Right. That's what people think the movement is.
I get you.
That's the problem. Right. Exactly. You see? So again, I'm fanatical about this thing of changing hearts, and we really have to do that. We really have to think about how, it's not so much what you say to people. Very often, it's what they hear, what they can hear. And again, I go back to Pat, Sister Pat. Shout out to Pat if she's listening. She said the same thing I was trying to tell the group at the time. Like, this kind of thing is a turn off. This woman, Pat, that I told you about, obviously she's a property owner.
Uh-huh.
I bet you folding money, her family has property back in the old country. They own land back in the old country, not just here. Right? She is ready to hear a message about limited government. She's ready to hear a message about lower taxes. She's ready to hear all these things. And we will find, just as we have found, just as Trump has shown, for example, that people are ready to hear these messages, and all you have to do is stay on message. But if you let your mind start wandering and you just start spewing insults and you say, well, I'm just gonna insult this whole segment of people because I feel like it. Well, you can certainly do that. It's certainly your right. But again, what do you want? What do we want for this movement? What do we want for this republic? We want to actually change things. We want to change the way our cities are run. We want to win. We want to win durable victories. We want to reset the conditions. We want to get back to some kind of sane track. This cannot be done if we adopt a battle strategy of ignoring the major population centers and the major cultural centers. And, where the infrastructure is the most dense and the networks are the most dense. That's insane as a strategy. To stop that. So again, I just, look, it's annoying hearing hearing Candace Owens talk out the black community is annoying. And it would be nice if she stopped, but I wouldn't be necessarily happy if she just stopped and started talking shit about a whole other group of people. You know what I'm saying? Let's stop talking shit about people. How about that? How about let's acquire a reputation for being the people who think hard and say sensible things.
Yeah.
How about let's not be the gratuitous insult people. How about that? You see? So,
well, I'm more in the camp of where like I say, where you at? Like she's flying, like you said, she's flying the flag of conservatism, and we know it's a false flag. We know that. But, these other people, because of what comes out of her mouth, are willing to give her a pass. I'm not willing to give her a pass.
Well, no one should get a pass. I shouldn't get a pass, right? I mean, anyone, right? Because everyone's subject to criticism.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is why you have to have an orthodoxy, which is why you have to have some basic rules for your mind, which is why you have to have an actual philosophy, And I think again, a lot of people haven't bothered to give that much thought. They're just like, well, I'm tired of the left, or the left has disgusted me. I'm going to go over here and sit with the cool kids. Well, that's fine. But okay, now you're in the cafeteria with the cool kids. But what's actually on the menu? What's on the tray? You know what I'm saying? And then what the cool kids actually have to say, because of course it is not what goes into the mouth, but what comes out the mouth that defiles the man, right?
That's true.
So there you go.
Well, and then we have another thing that I definitely wanted to get on you about, and see what your mindset is on. They got because I just finished talking to my cousin. Yeah, I can call him a cousin, but he's my first cousin's son. On my daddy's side. He's because I'm from Memphis, Tennessee.
Okay.
But the guards. So what's your take on? Have you heard about this? The guards being in Chicago, the guards being in Tennessee. Yeah. That we've got the guards actually on the streets of in cities in the United States, as far as roaming the streets, as far as crime go. What's your take on that?
Right. Well, my take is this. I want to know more about what they're actually doing.
Nothing.
Right.
They're walking.
Because I mean, like, let me finish. I want to know about what they're actually doing. Are they actually arresting people? Are they just pulling security on various corners? Or they what? Okay, so like it is possible. In theory, it is possible to use a deployment like that in a way that gets you gains. As they get gains for your local police. It is possible to do that.
Sure.
Is that being done? I don't know. I'll give you an example. D.C., right? We heard about the guards being deployed in D.C. Okay. Now, if you have a metropolitan police force that is under kind of personnel strain, you don't have enough officers to deploy to all your hot corners, let's say, right? Then, if you get an infusion of National Guard, for example, and you have them simply pull security on the downtown areas where you would ordinarily have police patrolling, then if you're a smart mayor, and if you're a smart police commander, then you use the opportunity to pull those guys and to redeploy them to places where it's really hot to cool that part of the city down. In other words, there's things you can do that actually make sense. Now, are those things being done? I do not know. I don't have enough information, right? And of course, as a conservative, right, I'm suspicious of government, as we all should be. And I understand that of course, we've had people talk about, and we've had people actually go through the motions of, just turning up the use of force knob and expecting to get results. But policing is more than that. And you've heard me talk about the history of policing, the art of policing, the craft of policing, what it is. It's so true, the truism, that simply turning up the use of force knob doesn't get you anywhere. I'm not asserting that they are turning up the use of force knob in Tennessee or wherever. I'm just saying we have to be, as conservatives, we have to be watchful for that. Okay, now the flip side of it is this. Chicago, man, it's like some weekend some time ago, there were like 50 people got shot.
Yeah.
Like 50 people got shot in a weekend.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, now, here's the thing. You get all these lefty politicians of all colors, right? Getting up in their feelings about how dare you send the National Guard to my city and this and that. Okay, and what I say to them is this, because I understand that they're being hypocrites, because it's not like they've done anything to really enhance public safety, and they've been running the place. People up there probably have been running the place forever. So what I say to them is this: well, pretend it's white people shooting the place up. Pretend it's white people shooting the place up every weekend. Pretend it's white people dropping bodies in and around Cabrini Green. Because if that was the case, right, if that was the case, Brandon Johnson and all the rest of them would have been on the phone to Washington talking about, you need to get some federal agents down here now. You need to fix this, right? Am I wrong? If this was some domestic terror thing from some supremacist group or some kind of whatever, you know, they would have been on the phone in Washington talking about, you got to get some people, bring tanks, bring whatever you do, whatever you got to do. We need to fix this. They're killing us. That's what they would be saying. Okay, but here's the thing: we are being killed. And the people who are dead from violence in the streets are no less dead. So, you know, while I'm not willing to just because I'm a conservative, I'm not willing to just say, the government has decided to deploy force in a specific way, and therefore I'm in favor. I'm not willing to say that. I need more information, right? Again, precisely because I'm a conservative. On the other hand, I think it's more than a little hypocritical, right? For these politicians in these different places to see the carnage in our streets and to turn around and say with a straight face, we've got it under control. Really?
Mm-hmm.
Is that because if you got it under control, then you definitely got to clean out your desk. Like, you got to go. You know what I'm saying? Like, get your shit. You know what I'm saying? Go at the front door, hit you with a good door switchy. Put some roller skates on. Put these roller skates on. You got to go. Right? You see what I'm saying? So that's why I don't see it as necessarily a good thing or necessarily a bad thing. It depends on how this force is being used. And again, the most sensible thing to me would be to use that force to take the pressure off your existing police force so you can redeploy them elsewhere. But I'll also say this is the third thing I'll say. You know, we all want to see crime go down in these cities. We are not going to see permanent or durable changes. No change is really permanent, but, you know, we're not going to see durable changes, okay, if we just focus on this is, you know, was like, you know, armed people in the streets are kind of the last bastion. You know, saying that's the last ditch thing. And, you know, you have to resort to armed law enforcement officers and other officers in the streets because you failed everywhere else. You need that because very many other things have gone badly wrong. Now, again, I go back to, being a conservative, this is not difficult for me. I just go back to first principles. The family is the foundation of society. If you break the family, you break civil society. If you break civil society, what you get in the streets is chaos and vampirism. So you have to rebuild the family. The National Guard in Memphis or Chicago or East St. Louis or Baltimore or D.C. or any other city cannot rebuild the family. So can they clamp down on violence for a period of time while they're deployed? It's possible. I don't say whether it's likely or unlikely. It is simply possible. But at the end of the day, right, we have to turn off the war on the family. And it is mostly the American left, not exclusively. You know, the conservatives bear some responsibility, but mostly leftist social programs and leftist policies that have prosecuted the war on the family to the point where we have what we have in our cities. We have to turn that system off. We have to dismantle. We have to figure out. We have to put something better in its place. We have to rebuild the family. If the government starts not trying to subsidize broken families and illegitimacy, if we decide that we are on the side of the free citizen and the free family and mean it and work hard towards it, then we will find that over time we'll have schools that are not dysfunctional and violent places. We will have neighborhoods that are not dysfunctional and violent places. We will get back to the
You
kind
have
of
1 minute left.
We'll get back to the kind of civic order that we all want to see. the National Guard is at best able to provide some kind of holding action. But a holding action is no good until you have some sensible, you're using some sensible tactics and strategy elsewhere.
Right.
So that's what I'll say to that. Just for a minute, mate. Let me drop and call you back.
Sounds like a deal.
Yes, sir.
The caller has hung up.
All righty. We're going to wait for Dexter to give us a call back here. Again, for those who don't know, if you're just jumping on, you're new, we're talking to Dexter Taylor from prison right now. Like I said, if you don't know Dexter's story, use your computer, type in Dexter Taylor, and you will get the whole picture of what's actually going on with Dexter and why he's doing a 10-year prison sentence for doing something that every American has a right to do. It's a fascinating story. So what we do is we usually on Sundays we're getting back to it. We haven't talked to Dexter in a while, but usually on Sundays we get with Dexter, see how he's doing, making sure he had a good week and things of that sort, and basically just trying to keep his mind fresh. If you have never been in a prison, just to visit, you'll understand what I'm saying is it plays tricks on. Like I said, I've had to go to prison, being a prison mentor for 19 years. I've had to go into prison and then hear the doors clinking and locking behind me. And even though I knew that I was going to be getting out, just being in there made you cuckoo for cocoa nuts. And I'm not joking. Ask anybody who's had to walk into a prison and for any reason at all. So we like to talk to Dexter. We want to keep his mind fresh and just talking to him about certain things that happens all the time with what's going on in the world. And one of the subjects we're talking about now is the guards being in the cities, and how that should play out, or if it should not play out at all. And earlier, before Dexter got back, I was talking about the Republicans here in the state of Minnesota and why Minnesota is so screwed up, why the Democrats are so screwed up here, because they basically run everything. So the Democrats here can basically do somewhat whatever they want to do. We're going to see here in a little bit, because right now the Democrats are basically going, let's have some type of gun laws or gun regulations and all this here type of stuff. They don't have the votes. So they're going to need a few of, and my understanding is a few of the Republicans just may cross over to give them the votes to do what they need to do. Now, go back a couple of years and the Democrats had the trifecta. They could do anything, and they did, but they could have banned guns if they wanted to. But here's the thing. They didn't have enough votes in their own party. This is what gets me about it. So they didn't have enough votes in their own party to ban AR-15s and AK-47s. So now what they're doing now is they're putting out there to make the Republicans look bad.
Yeah.
And if they can make the Republicans, because like I said, here in Minnesota, Tim Walz came out and said that he's not running against the Republican Party in Minnesota. He's running against Donald Trump.
Jesus.
Yeah, exactly, right?
That's a crazy ass thing to say.
No, but watch this here, Dex. Watch this.
Yeah.
The Democrats inside of Hennepin County, inside of Duluth, and inside of Rochester are more afraid of Donald Trump than they are the Republicans here in this state. Republicans here, like I said, the Republicans here in this state, they are weak. I mean, they're just.
This is the thing. Right. They're a bunch of weak sisters, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
So I'm not surprised they're more afraid of Trump.
Yeah.
Whatever you say about him, Trump is going to fight. Right? He's going to fight you.
Right. And that's why earlier when you and I was talking, and I said, when you said how the states that Trump won, I said all but Minnesota. He did not win Minnesota, and he didn't even come close to winning Minnesota. And think about this now. All the stuff that the Democratic Party has done here in this state, they sat back and watched a city burn. They did.
That's right.
They sat and they let people run the streets like it was like it was so crazy, right? You would never see any other than not New York, but L.A. Now in L.A., you know, when the Rodney King thing happened, I was out there when that went down. But here in Minnesota, I mean, it's a Midwest town. You wouldn't think that anything like that happened. But these Democrats.
Actually, wait a minute. It's not. Come to think of it, it's not just Minnesota and L.A. Minneapolis and L.A. Madison, Wisconsin. Madison, Wisconsin was burning in the summer of 2020.
Yeah.
The police in Seattle, they literally abandoned the whole precinct building. They walked out and locked the doors. Like they were like, okay, we're not gonna be policing in this building anymore. Like that's crazy.
Oh wow, I did not know that they left a building. Like
bro, like don't you remember? You remember in summer 2020 the Chaz, remember Chaz, Chop, whatever they called it. There was this neighborhood where basically Antifa took all the way over. Antifa BLM took all the way over. Right. And they had checkpoints and everything. And literally the police like left the precinct house. They like abandoned it for some time that the so-called protests for that reason riots were happening.
Oh, same thing that happened here.
They abandoned the entire district, and they let those people run wild. So actually, as I heard you saying this, I thought this may be, here's the thing, this may be the real reason why Trump is deploying the National Guard to these cities. He may be trying to get forces in place to stop a repeat of the summer of 2020. That's what he might be trying to do. Because remember, you saw some bullshit kick off in LA, and you saw the same kind of Antifa types that we've seen in these other disturbances. You saw them popping up in Los Angeles, and used with the same tactics and the same procedures.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so okay, so it's possible that he's placing these forces there to prevent a similar jump off, with a different excuse. Right? Back then, the excuse was George Floyd. Now the excuse is going to be, well, ICE is rounding up illegal immigrants.
Right.
Right. And that's the excuse they used in LA. Right. So that could be the real reason, and that would actually make a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, if summer of 2020. You were some Antifa or BLM clown, and you wanted to throw bricks and set shit on fire and assault people, you could do so with impunity, right? Fast forward to now, there's cats are getting snapped up, and they're getting hit with federal charges. Boom. So he may be actually trying to roll up that network, because it is a network. It is a network. You can't tell me that people, these small-time drifters, petty criminals under the Antifa banner from all over the place, go someplace and are there for 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, and someone's moving money somehow. That is being paid for somehow. What are these people eating? And they're not working anywhere, right?
All right.
So where are they eating? Where are they staying? How are they being supported logistically? Something's going on here, right? So it may be that's the reason why he's actually positioning these forces in these cities. And in that case, it makes perfect sense. That would make perfect sense.
Gotcha. Yeah. You know what? That could be what it is. Even though he's selling this off as,
Right.
you know,
Selling it off as, crime is out of control.
Crime is out of control, and the whole nine. But here's the thing. Just like in my home state, he's not going into crime areas.
Right,
you know,
exactly. He didn't do it in big cities, right? He put them they're downtown. In other words, they're in all the I've heard it right. They're being deployed in all the places that Antifa likes to attack. Because Antifa ain't going in the hood. Antifa is not going up in the hood. You know what I'm saying?
No, you got a point.
Right. He ain't doing the Antifa, they want to attack high-profile downtown stuff. They want to attack the shopping mall. They want to, go break windows in the retail district and so on and so forth. That's what they want to do. They want to go where people actually have dinner out and what have you. Maxine Waters told them, she said, go get in their faces in the street. Right? She told them to do that, right? Not that they weren't going to do it anyway, but she was all outside, is what I'm saying. So, yeah, the more I think about it, the more I think that's what this is. This is a repositioning of forces to make sure that he's got people to fall out and deploy against these mobs. If the Democrats try to use weaponized mobs in our cities the way they used them in the summer of 2020, I think that's got to be something like the reason. Yeah.
Wow. We'll sit back. We'll sit back and wait and see if yeah, if what, especially like I said, especially from Memphis, from where I'm from, I'm gonna get the update from a couple of my uncles who live in Germantown, who live in Bartlett, and that's what they were saying. That all the troops. He goes, well, they're downtown. They're not going to. I can tell you right now, they're not going to West Memphis. There is no way in hell that those troops will be in West Memphis. Because if they go into West Memphis, because here's another thing that gets me about this here, Dexter, is they are unarmed. They're in Memphis, Tennessee. The guards are there, and they are unarmed. Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. How do you know this? You may have seen some YouTube footage of a particular unit, but are you sure they're all unarmed?
Yeah, my like I said, I've got my cousins down there, and I'm be talking to my uncle. My uncle is like, you won't believe what they're doing. So I'm getting this firsthand. Matter of fact, I'm going to have Kenny. I'm going to have Kenny on my show tomorrow to give me a live report on the troops that are walking around by the pyramid over on Popular Boulevard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I would want to know if they're really unarmed or if they just are not carrying long guns. If they just have their sidearms, right? But
they could have the sidearm, but they're not like what what the news and everything that was coming out of Chicago, because I do believe, but the ones in Chicago, they was ICE, right?
Right. So that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. So it makes sense. Put it this way. You can patrol the street perfectly well with a pistol and with no long arm,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
And I think just the other thing is the density of personnel, right, and the fact that they all have radios, right, and they all have and they have some number of troop transports as well, so they're a presence, they can be seen, right, they can call in reinforcements very quickly, they can move personnel around very quickly. That's the most important thing. Whether they have rifles or not is I think a secondary matter at best. But if we go with this theory of mine, this half-ass theory of mine, that they're there actually to prevent a summer of love style jump off, then yeah, this will all make sense, including them not having long guns. I mean, it all makes sense.
Right.
You know, yeah, like yeah, and so you said ICE is in Chicago, but well, I thought that there was also, no, I think he did authorize National Guard in Chicago, from what I heard. It's just going to take some time for the National Guard to actually show up. But yeah, all these cities where you might get some jump off. You know, cities that where you have these Democratic mayors who are happy to let the place burn, as long as it makes the president look bad, or whatever. I don't know. Yeah, I think that's the thing. And let me also say, this is an abnormal situation, and I hope whatever the turnout from this particular thing is, I mean, I hope it doesn't become the norm, right? Because again, at the end of the day, we want to go back to a norm where you have a policeman on the beat, right? And you don't have soldiers and armored transports and all this stuff.
Right.
I can understand doing it in the case of exigent circumstances, but you can't live in exigent circumstances 24/7. At some point, we have to get back to sanity, which, again, as I was saying to you earlier in this talk, Rev, that's why it's so important to start winning elections.
Yeah.
To get rid of these Democrats.
Yeah.
Who are running these cities and pushing to the ground, because we can't have this. We can't have this. I mean, Brandon Johnson, Chicago, right? It's similar pattern to Eric Adams in New York, right? He got up on his hind legs and talked about, yes, Chicago's a sanctuary city, and you can't take care of the basics. You can't make the city a safe and livable place for the people you have. And you talk about, well, yeah, just come on in. If you're from someplace else, just come on in and sit down, and we'll give you a bunch of free shit. What? What's the matter with you?
That's how we work, man. That's how we work.
That's how he works. Don't say we. Don't say we. I ain't in that. That's how he works. That's how Democrat. I mean, look, let's be honest. They hired him. I mean, he's a mind man at the end of the day. They hired him to be a water carrier for the Democrat Party. The same reason Letitia James has a job. Her job is to carry water for the Democrats.
True.
And that's fine, but this is just what I say. Precisely because they're so mediocre, they're beatable, and just as Republicans are always talking correctly, by the way, about personal responsibility, I would say that also comes to politics. I don't want to hear any excuses about why you can't beat these people politically. Right? If you can't beat them, it's your fault. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to hear about the tactical brainwashing machine the Democratic Party has. I don't want to hear about how nonsense. They're beatable. Do the work and beat them.
Well, it's the voting machine. They're rigged.
Well, wait a minute. I mean, voting machines are rigged in certain places. They are, and it's a terrible idea to have. I mean, let's not go overboard. The fact that you have voting machines, right, electronic voting with software that you can't analyze, right, that's not open source, that's written by some company that's not accountable to you, right? A voting machine that has an internet connection. Why does a voting machine need an internet connection?
Yeah. Well, We should go back, which I was saying we should just go back to paper.
Of course we should. Of course. Of course.
And be done with be done with this situation, like you said. Why should a voting machine be hooked up to the internet? There is no reason.
Well, there's one reason. That's one reason. Somebody want to cheat.
Well, true. Yeah.
Reason. Yeah. Somebody's doing something slick. So, yeah, get rid of voting machines. But all I'm saying is, like at the end of the day, look, Queen was telling me, she's out in Texas, obviously, and she's doing a lot of stuff with the Republicans down in Texas. She was saying that, Texas has a Republican governor. The Republican governor simply could have directed the Secretary of State to not certify those electronic voting machines.
Mm-hmm.
He could have done that. That was within his power, right? He
Mm-hmm.
didn't do that. Why? He's a weak sister, right? He's
Mm-hmm.
weak. He's weak at best, and at worst, he's sleeping with the enemy. But he's doing something that he ought not do, and he's left undone the things he should have done. You see? So, yeah, it's we got a lot of work to do, Rev. We got a lot of work to do to clean up this house.
Yeah.
To clean up our house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my thought, I'm just gonna put this out there because we've had to clean up houses for a long time. I mean that's what we do. I think we should just go back to when the Republican Party first started. I think we should open the door and let the black people come on back home. Let us take over. Let us clean it up, and go from there. That's just my mindset, Especially if because because dude was asking me the other day. Well, you say what did he say? He said you say you're conservative and all this here type of stuff, Rev, and that's just like being a Republican. I go bullshit. I'm gonna stop you right there. I'm gonna stop you right there. I said if I had to give you an example, I would say I'm a Colin Powell conservative. I believe in I believe Colin Powell was a conservative because he believed in the value. That's like Cheryl Underwood, the black actress, who that's what she said. I believe in what the Conservatives Party structure is about, right? I can't.
Yeah.
So because when the first time I voted for Obama, I thought Obama was going to come in here and he was going to clean things up. He was going to make things different. But then Obama gets over there, and what did he do? He says, "I evolved. I can see two men marrying." I had to, dude. I had to be done with him. There is no way. No, bro. No, bro. I had to be done with him. I was done. That was it. That what made me get off. And I had just came back from being over and with the messing with the Republicans. I had to leave them, the Tea Party, because they got racist on me.
They were acting a fool.
They was right, exactly. So I'm like, well, where am I supposed to go? So I'm without a home. I was without a home, Dexter. So I said, well, I better just go back over here and hang out with the Democrats and vote for this black man. Why not? What would it hurt? And then all of a sudden I evolved. I see marriage between a man and a man. Boy, if I was somewhere and he come walking across my path, I would have kicked him in his ass. Period. Point blank. I'm not kidding. I'm not. What are you in prison for, Tim? Because I kicked Obama in the ass because he decided to evolve after I give him my vote. Ah, yeah, man.
Well, look,
Ain't happening. Ain't happening.
I mean, look, Look, I mean, in retrospect, I think Obama was basically, and is basically a company man, right? That's the thing. And his company is the Democrats, right? So the Democratic Party. So he was, I mean, you know, I mean, I'll give him because he didn't, to me, he didn't govern like a revolutionary. For better or worse, he governed like a company man. And the problem is that if you don't like the company, then of course you don't like the man, because he's a company man. So that's Obama. I don't know that you could have expected much more from the man, right?
Yeah.
I wish
At this,
like in the aftermath, certainly, I wish he'd shut his mouth. I mean, he's talking all kind of crazy shit about how, like, you know, your son needs to have a gay friend who could tell about his fault. I'm like, bro, just shut up.
yeah, I ain't got
Get
Dexter, I ain't got time for that.
Bro, I'm just like, okay, Obama needs to get in the sea right now. He needs to get into the ocean just lay in the cuts a little bit. Just get into the ocean, bro.
Right.
Deep. You know what I'm saying? Just stay there. No, but I mean, again, it's like what do we expect? At the end of the day, again, that's the company.
I didn't see it, but I didn't see that.
I know with the company.
Yeah, I didn't see that. I didn't see that coming.
I didn't see it coming either, Rev. I did not see that coming. But listen,
that's like wow.
I'm like, yeah, okay, good to know.
Right, right. Yeah, you're right. Good to know who he is and what he is. But yeah, that's when I had to leave. I had to leave him and the Democrats alone. Peace. I'm out. Yeah. I ain't got nothing. Where's my John McCain? Where's my Mitt Romney? You know.
No. But that, we have to be honest though. Like again, see, the Republicans always did a lot of dumb shit. You know, after Obama got elected, like
they lost their mind.
Like everyone just voted him because it's like, motherfucker, we voted for him because it's like John McCain was the alternative.
But I like. I know everybody was saying that. I get what everybody was saying that. I was a John McCain guy until he brought Sarah Palin. John McCain started. The reason why we're in this situation right now with crazy politics, John McCain.
It's not because of John McCain.
Oh, when he brought Sarah Palin in, that was crazy politics. Saturday Night Live, what I mean by that is Saturday Night Live turned her into crazy politics.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that look, politics. I mean, America is the kind of country that has always had a kind of the potential for crazy politics at any given time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, we forget that one of the very earliest presidents that we had in this country died in a gunfight. Did you get that?
Died in. Oh. Okay. Hamilton. Yeah.
I'm talking about John McCain, and that's crazy. Okay? That's crazy, bro. Right?
True.
Yeah, right?
True.
I mean, just think, right? Fast forward back to like now, president got shot. He was beefing with somebody else. Okay. So I'm like, compared to that, Sarah Palin is small beer. Look, John McCain is
that hurt though,
John
man.
McCain, one of these people who's not a real conservative, bro. He's just not. Come on, he was like a neo-conservative, if you want to call it that. He was a swamp creature as far as
he was a Republican. He was a Republican.
Okay, but here's the thing: he didn't have the values that I want a conservative to have. That's the problem.
But he wasn't a conservative. John McCain wasn't a conservative. I mean, Mitt Romney was more conservative than John McCain.
Listen, Mitt Romney. Let's talk about Mitt Romney for a second. Mitt Romney was a professional usurer. Okay.
He was a what?
A professional usurer. Don't you remember he was the man at Bain Capital? You forget that?
Oh shoot! I didn't know. I forgot that. I completely forgot about that.
People forget that. I don't forget that. I'm like an elephant, so I remember all that shit, right? John McCain never saw a foreign war he didn't like.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And Mitt Romney is a straight up child of predatory Wall Street. He's a professional usurer. Okay.
Okay.
And it's like the thought. I think, and you know, sane people even back then, you know, contemplated the specter of someone like him running the country with a justified amount of horror. They're like, no, thank you. Same capital? That dude? Even if he didn't come off as being as phony as a $3 bill, which he did, I'm not saying we're not going to have this. We're not going to have this.
I completely forgot about that, bro. I completely forgot about that.
Right. See, so people think, oh, you know, it's like, well, it wasn't just everyone thought Obama was the second coming. No, it's like, well, look at who else we got. Yeah, let's just go with the boring black guy. That's what it was.
Yeah.
That's
you're right.
Okay, and I mean, and listen, really, you know, look, certain kinds of, I mean, you know, right now we're in the midst of this kind of populist conservative revolution. I think at that time in the country, that wasn't the time for a populist conservative revolution. It was the time to hire a president who could just keep the bus from running into the ditch. Remember, you had 2.5 wars going. You had the economy collapsing, right? The housing crisis, right?
Yep.
You had all this shit going on. Then, okay, listen, you have one job. You know, just like don't drive the bus.
Don't drive. Yeah. Well, Bush did leave the country. I mean, people don't want to admit it, but what Bush did to the country on his way out was ridiculous.
Well, even on his way in and out. I mean, in, through, and out. I mean, it's like, well, I mean, since when do you decide that it makes sense to spend $1 trillion trying to bring Jeffersonian democracy to the Hindu Kush? Make that make sense. Make that make some sense, right? So it's just, you know, we have to realize that, like it or not, we've been one of the reasons why populist conservatism is so exciting to people is because we've been going back and forth, right, between two different shades of company man, right? You want the big finance and permanent war company man. You want the big state and permanent sissy party company man. We've been going back and forth between those two things. Okay, we have not really had two political parties that genuinely reflect the real differences in American society. The actual opinions people have, the actual things people want for themselves and their families and their communities. We have not had that, right? There has been no right person to vote for, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so at the very least,
you have 1 minute left.
Now, what's interesting now is that we have a guy who seems actually committed to shrinking the federal government. I mean, really committed to shrinking the federal government. That's useful. And we have a guy who really seems to understand that, like, the left, like, the left has to be cut down to size by attacking its funding streams and the way it allocates resources and its logistics and so on. And he's actually made a lot of consequential moves toward doing that. And this time around, he also seems to respect the Second Amendment, which is awesome. Is he perfect? No. Who is? But that's why I'm always telling my conservative brethren, let's consolidate these gains. Let's figure out how to keep this movement going beyond the political cycle. She's about to cut me off. I'm going to drop and call you back.
All right.
Yep.
The caller has hung up.
There we go. So we're gonna probably have 15 minutes here with Dexter on the other end, because I've got to go plug up. I've got 2 appointments with the kidney doctor on tomorrow. I've got to be up at 9:00 and be in Coon Rapids at the Fresenius dialysis, and then I've got to be downtown. So we're gonna do probably another 15 minutes here, so I can go. Like I said, I've got to be on this machine for 9 hours at night, and so it can go through all its cycles and all this here type of stuff. So we're going to. I'll wait till Dexter get back here, and we will get him all set here and ready to go. And once he jumps back on. Because I have not talked to him about the situation. Because he was talking about, who is that? He was talking about, almost about to get into the situation that's about to happen in New York, I think, where,
Yeah.
hey, Hey, so we got probably about 15 minutes, Dex.
Okay.
Yeah, sir. Because I got to go plug in. I got 2 doctor appointments on tomorrow, and yeah. So I gotta get that.
Early, bro.
Yeah. So hey, what I was gonna talk to you about. Did we go over the situation that's going on there in, because we're having the same thing here in Minnesota, where the socialists are trying to take over. Isn't that what's going on in New York?
Well, I mean, again, like, if we think about it in terms of social, yes, on paper, put it that way. Zoran Mamdani is a socialist, a proud socialist on paper. What he really is, I mean, the irony is he'd be less boring if he were a real socialist. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, put it this way: if he at least was thinking genuinely about distributing, about the people, the citizens, owning the means of production.
Why would you want to be a fake socialist though?
No, wait a minute. Just hear me out.
Okay.
I don't know, and I don't care, because I don't want to spend too much time in his mind. What I'm saying is this: if he were serious about the people owning the means of production, which is what socialism means, right? What he'd be talking about the government helping people buy tools,
okay,
and sewing machines, and 3D printers, and laptops, right? Right? Because, I mean, that's the means of production.
That's true.
Right? I mean, in a city like New York, okay, it's not farmland, because you can't really produce any serious agricultural output in a city like New York. But you can produce other industrial goods like software, right? Okay, so how come? That's what I'm saying. Like, he's not even, he's not even exciting enough to be like a real, like he's not enough of a socialist to be an exciting adversary, an exciting opponent, an exciting enemy. He's boring.
Okay.
And stupid. And his ideas are boring and stupid. Right? But in that sense, I don't see any real difference between him and like a Bill de Blasio. I mean,
yeah, but he wants to come in. So he wants to be the face. So he's basically just a face. Is pretty much what you're saying. So he comes in, but he pushes us. He comes in just to push a socialist agenda, because basically anybody in New York that got some money in their pocket, he's going after them.
Well, you say he's going after them, but how many times have we seen these progressives, or whatever you want to call them, say, "Oh, we're going to go after the rich. We're going to," that they've been saying that same shit for 50 years or more.
Right.
Has anyone actually eaten the rich?
No.
Right? I mean, seriously now. We had some pretty progressive, mayors in there. New York City is still run by real estate speculators, right? And financiers. Okay, so look, this is what I'm saying. Like, the reason I can't stand Zoran Mamdani is that, aside from being a mama's boy and a sissy, his ideas are stupid. Okay, but it doesn't. Like, the fact that he calls himself a socialist, like, I don't get excited about that. because those ideas are just as beatable as all the other dumb lefty ideas we've been hearing about forever and a day. You see what I'm saying? So it's not any special thing that he's a socialist. It's like, oh, okay, he just said the shit out loud. And by the way, listen, that is the Democratic Party agenda. By the way, they're just tight that he's coming so sudden with it. They wanted to salami slice people's rights and property away for a few more years before they pulled their jack move. He just popped out and just said it out loud because he's an idiot. And so that's why nationally the Democratic Party is, feeling that kind of way about Zoran Mamdani. But they have the same agenda. They have the same agenda. They have the same fundamental disrespect for human beings, for the human essence, for families, right?
Right,
for society. They have the same fundamental incuriosity about how things actually work, how economies actually work, how money actually flows, what people do. They're not curious. They don't want to know. He's just like all of them. What's the difference? Okay, he said a word. So what? Bro, his ideas are stupid. At the end of the day, it's just another one with stupid ideas. That's all. I'm not going to get scared because he said a word, bro. It's like, nah, yeah, whatever. It's still stupid. Dumb, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like just saying a lot of dumb shit that I've heard in some form before. So whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to. You look at this guy, you hear him talk, and you're like, really? You're gonna no? You're not supposed to get scared at that. You're supposed to say, yeah, we can beat that.
Yeah.
And again, he's beatable. Let me take it right to this. What's the problem here? Well, who do the so-called conservatives have running against Zoran Mamdani? Curtis Sliwa. I mean, what? Like a 50-something-year-old dude who's still wearing the red beret from back in the day. Come on, man, you got a house full of cats, bro. Come on. Yo,
I thought that was a joke. Yo. I really thought that was a joke. Curtis.
Very funny.
That's why they're not taking this thing. They're not taking this serious. Curtis, of all people.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. They're not serious about winning cities because there is no one more beatable than Zoran Mamdani, bro. No one, absolutely no one. Okay.
Well, this is what we get. We have the same thing. Like I said, we have the same thing here. We don't even have Republicans even running in our mayoral race.
Exactly.
Here in Minnesota. You don't.
So when I hear these people, when I hear these so-called conservatives, influencers, whatever, talking about, I'm like, I take that with a grain of salt because I'm like, if y'all were serious, it's like the whole
John
picture would be different. I mean, Curtis Sliwa.
John.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Curtis wants to be, the other problem with him, by the way, he wants to be Giuliani 2.0. That's the other problem.
Okay.
And I wasn't a fan of Giuliani 1.0. So I'm not jacking Giuliani 2.0. Stop it.
Right.
With no red beret and an apartment full of cats. Like, no. Like, no. Right?
Yeah, gotcha.
You know what I'm saying, though? It's like, for real, though, it's like, this is the problem. This is the problem. These people, these lefties are beatable, but you have to have a conservative party that is interested in beating them,
and good candidates
everywhere,
and good candidates. We don't have good candidates here.
No, you could if you were not you, but
Yeah.
You could if they were interested in fighting this fight. They're not. They don't care. Listen. Do not tell me that there is no better conservative to run against Mamdani than Curtis Sliwa. I do not believe it. There is no excuse I will accept. None.
That's what I was sitting there going. They just handing the keys to him. I mean, they're literally saying, "Dude, you're going to win. We're going to put Curtis up here to make some noise and everybody to laugh at us."
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So it's one of those deals. I wanted to give a shout out to John Collier here tonight. Hey, John, how you doing? How you doing, man? thank you very much for hanging out with us tonight with everything. So we've had we've been at this for 2 hours already, Dex.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
On there.
I'm Collier as well. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I've missed chopping up with you, bro. For real.
Oh, that's what.
Fun.
That's why I had to hit Carl up. I was like, you know what? No matter what,
Yeah.
I was like, no matter what happens on this Sunday, I don't care how I'm feeling, man. I'm gonna come down here because we have not had an opportunity. We've been missing a lot of stuff that's been going on. So I don't care what's going on, how I'm feeling. I'm just gonna buck it up and come down, man, and just have a chit chat with you. But yeah, because I had to.
Good old time.
Yeah, I had to move. I am now because I used it for people who have never been here hanging out with us. The backdrop I have right now is not the backdrop. You have to go look at some of my old stuff to see what I mean when I said I had to move. So I'm waiting on getting a new backdrop, Dexter. I had to.
Okay.
Yeah, my youngest son moved home. So I had to give up.
Okay.
I had to give up that space, and they kicked me in a corner, literally in the end of the basement, in the corner is where I'm at right now. I used to have a nice room that I literally turned it into a studio.
Yeah.
So I had to move everything from over there. Everything. I had all the stuff. I had my cable, everything. I had to rerun wires and everything over here.
That's crazy.
Right.
Crazy,
I was
bro.
saying the same thing. But I got it done. You know what? I got it done. So we're up and running. I'm trying to figure out what to do with my backdrop now. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I have no clue right now. So that's just gonna stay there unless somebody wanna donate. If someone's out there and they want to donate me a backdrop, I could use a backdrop. So I'm just gonna put that out there right now. But hey,
Get yourself a velvet curtain or some shit.
yeah, one of those. Hey, so you want to go ahead and close us out tonight, Dex?
Yes, sir. I'm so glad. I'm so grateful. I'm so blessed and highly favored to have friends on the outside like you and Tim, like Carl, like all the people in my social media circle, like all my Foundation of Society people, like my family and friends. So thank you. Thank you all. Everyone who's written to me, everyone who's reached out, everyone who's tagged a story about me, everyone who's written about my case, everyone who's gone in their pocket to, donate a little something to Give, Send, Go, to send me something send something to my commissary. Thank you all. Like I said, to my conservative brothers and sisters out there, if you've heard me before, you've heard me say we can win this fight. This is not just my fight. We're not just talking about me fighting the lawless Democrats who run New York State. We're talking about, turning things around for our republic, our home, and this is doable. All we have to do is get serious about doing it and get serious about seeing our home as one place, and one people and one family. And then, standing up and standing to and defending that home and defending that family. That's it. And, I have not given up. I am not downhearted at all. I'm not pessimistic. I'm not black-pilled. I'm not depressed. I'm not any of those things. And I'm in prison. So for those of you out there breathing free air and able to get on the internet and network and organize and figure things out and go and talk to people and change hearts and minds, there is no excuse I will accept. Get to work.
There you go. Hey, you gotta put your handle out there too to let people know if somebody is new.
Yeah. Well, you can find a lot of my conservative content floating around there under the name Carbon Mic. My logo is an actual microphone. A lot of my stuff, some of the most important stuff I've done is to be found on YouTube under the Infinite Jigsaw podcast. That's my buddy Danny Duran from the UK. Shout out to Danny. And that's where you can find out more about foundationism, that school of thought, which I started after I left the left. What it means, and me talking with Danny about it, about the Foundationist Manifesto, and so on and so forth. A lot of my online assets are down because I haven't been able to actually keep them up while I'm in here. But you can find bits and pieces on the internet, on YouTube. Dexter Taylor, Carbon Mike, same guy. There's a movie, there's a documentary on Amazon Prime called The Great American Race Game, and I did the voiceover narration for that as Carbon Mike. There's probably under Future Radio Cast, on the Twitter handle Future Radio Cast. A lot of that content should still be up. A lot of the old recorded spaces that I did a year or more ago should still be up. So feel free to check that out. And yeah, just all I ask is that people spread the word. That's the most important thing people can do. Yes, we have a lot of expenses. Yes, we've run through all the money we've raised so far. But the most important thing you can do will not cost you any money, and that is to get in touch with somebody who has a microphone.
There you go.
Whether they're in politics, whether they're in Washington, or whether they're just online and talking about the things we care about, you can spread the word. The more people get to know about this case, the better. The bigger the political embarrassment of the Democrats, the better. The last thing I'll add is that this is a New York State case, not a federal case. The federal government didn't find that I did anything wrong. It's just New York State acting a fool. But I'll say this. Anywhere you are in this country, if you think you can use the circumstances and the matter of my case to inflict political damage on Democrats anywhere, I'm delighted. Go ahead and use me. Go ahead and use that. If you think that you can use my case to beat up on Democrats in Indiana, go for it.
Go for it, right?
God bless you. You know what I'm saying? In all 50 states, right? So that's all I'll say. And again, thank you, Rev. I really appreciate you, brother.
Nah, man. Like I said, I don't, like I said, I just apologize again for not, getting back. Wasn't feeling, like I said, I wasn't feeling good. So I just
apologize, man.
Yes, sir. Just wanted to get back on, let you know that we are thinking about you. We always are thinking about you. Everybody always talk about you, man, no matter what. So we're gonna stay. We're gonna stay on this road, bro, until we get you out of there. But I just got just real quick before I let you go. So I just got a DM from somebody said, I sent a note to the Borkings at T-Rex Arms about Dexter Taylor. Their response was that they do not have videos about this stuff like that. This is Isaac Borkins, who does a 2A video. Isaac Borkins. I'm going to have to look him up. Somebody know who Isaac Borkins. Last name is spelled B-O-T Botkins. B-O-T-K-I-N-S. B-O-K. Yeah. B-O-T-K-I-N-S at T-Rex. But they said they don't do videos like this here. They're under at T-Rex Arm Sync. At T-Rex
Arms Inc.
Yeah, Sync. T-Rex Arm Inc. They have like 1.6 million subscribers on YouTube. Holy smoke, they should be able to do that. I'm gonna look them up. I'm gonna send something out myself. I mean, if they're 2A, if they're fighting for 2A, And I mean, this is yeah. I'm gonna look them up. So it's T-Rex Arms.
I mean,
T-Rex Arms
T-Rex
Inc.
Arms sounds like they're actually a manufacturer.
Oh, is that what they are?
It sounds like it. If they're T-Rex Arms, then it sounds
Yep.
like a manufacturer.
T-Rex Arms
Right.
Inc. Yeah, I'm gonna look them up and see what the deal is. But somebody sent them. Get up.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, look, I would say, ask people, people are going to do what they can do, not what they can't do.
Yeah.
So I'm never going to feel a kind of way if a gun company or if a weapons company, whatever, has whatever policy, or they're trying to walk a fine line, or they're trying to keep off the ATF's radar, or whatever else. But I'm never going to feel a kind of way if they don't amplify my case. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Because I'm just glad they're up there. I'm just glad they're manufacturing weapons and products for the two-way community. I'm delighted. That's, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
That's great. Keep on doing that. You know what I'm saying? And if they can make some noise, great. But if they don't, I always understand. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I would say to and about T-Rex Arms. Keep on. If you're making products, you're making great products. Keep on making great products. And God willing, hopefully one day I'll get out. When I'll get out, maybe buy some. You know what I'm saying? Of your product. So yeah.
Sounds like a deal, man. Well, we appreciate you. I'll hit Carl up, and we'll do this again. We'll see how Carl is doing. He didn't tell me how the little one was doing. We didn't tell her. He didn't tell her how our little nephew was doing. So
he's doing great. I talked with I was on with Carl yesterday evening.
Oh, okay.
And Julian's feisty, and he got a couple teeth coming in, so we feel cocky now. You know? He could, yeah. He's not just gumming that food no more. I got nothing now.
He about to be somebody. He about to be somebody.
Listen, he was faking that smile before, but now it's about to be real.
There you go. Hey, I appreciate you, my brother.
Same here, bro. God bless you.
Sounds like a deal. If everything goes right, we'll be back next Sunday doing what we do.
All right, thanks, bro.
Appreciate you. We'll talk to you soon. Be blessed, man. Bye now.
All right. You too.
All right, fam. Y'all have a good night. We will talk to you, like I said, we will talk to you normally on Monday. And if you're here and you want to hear Dexter talk, we will be back on next Sunday to hang out for a little bit. So, but again, we ask that only thing you do is just put Carbon Mike out there, aka at Future Carbon out there. You get a few minutes to just literally ask some big influencer, have you heard of, and then just put his name out there, hit send. That's all you have to do. That's all we're asking you to do. That's it. It's the many people we can get his name out there so people can really, really start reading his story is going to help each and every one of us out. And especially if you're in the 2A community, because they're using him as basically a prop to say, okay, you can't do this and you can't do that, even though it's under the Second Amendment. And they found a way to put this man in prison. This is crazy, people. This is crazy. So that's what we're fighting for right now. Dexter decided to say, I'm not going to let you take my rights away like that, and no other person's right. So if you have to put me in here, I'm going to go in. And then we'll just fight it from there. So that's what we're doing. So if you can get on board with us, if you can help us out in any way, shape, or form you can, please, ma'am and sir, we're asking you to help us out, help us get over the hump, help get him over the hump. We raised a lot of money. So right now, next Sunday we'll talk more about Dexter than we do all of the other stuff on next Sunday. Y'all have a good night. Like I said, join me on Monday. There's a little, if you're not from Minnesota, I already did one follow-up on the little film that was put out that Rick Kupchella. We got this journalist. His name is Rick Kupchella. So he puts this thing out about Minneapolis like they always do. And I've got a second follow-up because I watched it a few other times. So I've got a second follow-up that I will be putting out there on Monday. We will be talking about the little film that Rick Capcella put out about Minneapolis. That's what I'm doing on tomorrow. Y'all have a good night. We'll talk to you soon. Everybody be blessed. Peace. I'm out, fam.